I am going to share my screen really quick and then I will pass it over to Amanda. Super excited to hear from her tonight. So let me just quickly share here. Maya, can you see my screen? Okay, cool. So happy June. It's almost like the middle of June, but still happy June. Just wanted to go over a couple of things. Obviously, you guys know the 4 vital behaviors. Focus on you first. That's your main focus before you pour into other people. Inviting, connecting, following up, helping other people get results and your customers, and of course, personal development. Those are the main things you should always focus on when you're moving your business forward. You guys know all the Success Club, helping 3 people a month. That's Success Club 6, and helping 5 people a month is SC10. Obviously, you know that you can earn lots of recognition, prizes, rewards, and our annual Success Club trip that I have a strong feeling will be going on next year. Hopefully. Success starters, lots on this team that have been in the 645 test group and the Let's Get Up test group. So we will be hearing from the 645 test group next week. So I'm excited for that. We have, oh, never mind. That's the next slide. So rank advancements, Emerald is 2 people. Ruby is a team of 8. So you have 2 Emeralds and 4 coaches. Diamond is a team of 12. I know a lot of you are pushing for that right now in our Diamond Dash. So good luck to you guys. I know you can do it. And then 2-star is your biggest thing that a lot of you are also pushing for. That's a huge income opportunity. That's when you can open a second business center. So I know we have a 2-star popping this Thursday, so really excited for her. We have the Diamond Dash happening right now, and I have a push pod happening right now. And then obviously our team calls every Monday, and then Danielle's team calls are also every Wednesday. So you guys have lots of resources and training available to you. And then there's also the Beachbody Power Hours that are available. I know some of you hopped on this morning, so that was nice to see some new faces on there. They're led by other Beachbody coaches in the network. They're super helpful, especially if you need that extra accountability. So just know that it's there. Live It Up launches on June 25th to all Nutrition Plus members. So they're just 4 extra dances from Shaun T. So that's exciting. Take Action Challenge is still happening. So I see that some people have won the trip from this week. So that's really awesome. Cash prizes, people have been winning, $100. That's awesome. And it's just by filling out your business activity tracker. And you can find that actually right here in your coach office. That's where you're going to use your tracker to be able to get in the Take Action Challenge. Cookies and Creamy is launching next Tuesday. So make sure you are talking about it in your Instagram stories, talking about it in your challenge groups, talking about it really just with your customers, because those are the ones that are actually going to know what Shakeology is all about. So make sure you're starting to nugget that into your social media. 645, we'll kind of talk a little bit more about that next week with the girls who are in the test group. So I'm excited to hear from them. We do have Summit still hopefully happening at Alicia's, and all of the details of that are in the team page. So again, Alicia, thank you. I am really looking forward to it. And then just some June Success Club board updates here. So many of you on the board already. This is so awesome to see. So many of you almost at Success Club, so freaking close. I just kind of wanted to go over the ones who have locked it in. Amber at SC8, Maya at 7, Holly at 7, Sierra at 6, Victoria, Riley, Audrey, Brianna, Madison at 6, Brooke, Allison, Kirsten, and Mackenzie at 5. So shout out to all of you guys. And then Charlie at Success Club 21, you go girl. Myself at 18, Allison at 14, Jamie, who officially locked in Success Starters month 2, is at 12, Alicia at 12, and Audrey at 10. So you guys are kicking ass. Really proud of all of you. Does anyone have any recognition they want to do? Because if so, I will mute myself.
I can go quick if no one else is. So Allison, if we only a couple more days, she'll be holding her diamond for 6 weeks. So amazing job, Allison. Taryn, who's halfway to Emerald, and she just started, like not even a week, about 2 weeks ago. And then Steph, I think she's on here. She has a wedding this week, and she's still on team call and still being a huge part of our whole this 6 weeks. So amazing job, ladies.
Okay, I just want to take a second to shout out everyone. Sorry, my camera's not on. I'm fighting a migraine and I look like a dead rat. Anywho, I just want to shout out everyone because I know personally and like some of the coaches, other coaches I've been talking to this month has been like hard for a lot of people. I feel like some people are still in that like pandemic slump and there's like a lot of changes in the summer and lockdown and all the stuff. So if you're still showing up for yourself and you're showing up for others, just like kudos to you because I know how tough it is right now.
Okay, that was awesome. And I want to shout out pretty much anybody who has contacted me since last time I was on a call, because that's really awesome. And that's what we're here doing, building relationships, right? So that's great. And I'm not trying to put her above anybody else because you guys are all amazing, but I do want to shout out Kira because she reached out to me and we're going to work on a bod group together. So rock on.
I want to shout out Steph and Star. Without them, I wouldn't be a third of the way through 75 hard. It's been insane, but loving it. So I just wanted to give them some mad love for helping me get through that, even though I really, really want to quit every day.
As always, I want to shout out my girl Allison because we're almost in our test group and I wouldn't have made it 12 weeks so consistent without her. So thanks, girl. I'm looking forward to doing it all again in a couple.
I want to shout out my coach Rochelle. She signed up 2 new working coaches this week, so super exciting.
I'll jump in here. I want to shout out Mackenzie Dafo, Maddie, and Sophie, who just locked in Success Club tonight. So congrats, guys.
Anyone else?
I'll go. Oh, sorry, Shauna.
No,
I'm gonna
go ahead.
quickly. Sorry. Okay. I don't think she's on here, but if she catches the recording, Emma, who is halfway to Emerald, so super exciting, and Lauren, who is 1 person away from locking in 2 times Emerald. So keep crushing it, ladies.
Okay, you guys can probably hear Gus snoring in the background. But I want to give a shout out to Brooke, who just so consistently crushes it. She has Success Club locked in herself, continues to add coaches to her team, working coaches, discount coaches, and has like 1 week and 2 days left of holding 6 weeks for Diamond qualification. So super excited for her.
I actually just want to piggyback on that for a second. Brooke has had a really like rough month to hit Success Club, and she hasn't given up. She's shown up so consistently every single day, and she's doing everything she can. So shout out to you, girl. I know you locked it in today, so be proud.
Love it, guys. Just a quick shout out to Amber, who is officially 1-star as of last Thursday. So congrats to Amber. And then Alicia will be 2-star this Thursday. So lots of exciting rank advancements happening. But I want to pass it over to Amanda, who's been sitting there so patiently. We really appreciate you coming in tonight. So I saw Amanda in the roundtable and that she loved talking about goal setting. And that is like my favorite topic because I feel like that's something that we haven't talked about in a while as a team is goal setting. So I'm really excited to hear from her. So Amanda is a wife and mom of 4. She is a 3-time elite coach, a 1-time premier coach. She is a 9-star diamond in her first CBC, 2-star in her second CBC, and 1-star in her third. And she is a Legacy Club member. So thank you, Amanda, so much. And I can't wait to hear from you.
Well, you're so welcome. What a way to kick off the call, just being able to soak in all of your positive energy. I see a very young, energetic team, and that is giving me life. And are most of you in Canada? Am I hearing Canada? Okay, cool. Well, I super appreciate Shauna letting me come on the call tonight. I have been a coach, prepare yourselves, for 11 and a half years, actually. And so I think I was, let's see, I shouldn't even do this math. I think I was 28 maybe or something when this business first kind of came to me. And so to say that there's a lot of water under the bridge is an understatement. And so as I'm looking at everyone on the call today, I'm so excited to share with you guys kind of the things that I wish I had accepted more fully when I first started my business, because quite honestly, nobody had been a coach for 11 and a half years when I started coaching, because the coaching opportunity was so young and new. And it certainly didn't look anything like it does today. And so much time has passed. That it's going to be so fun for me to just mentor, which is one of the things that brings me the most joy in this business. So a little bit about where I was when I started, because this is going to be important to everything that I share today. When we talk about goal setting and really vision, I think goes along really well with goal setting. So I was, as I said, about 28 or so when I was already working in the fitness industry. I had a 4-year degree in English literature and was doing absolutely nothing with it because I didn't want to be a teacher, even though that was everybody's go-to question when I said, they're like, oh, what's your major? English literature. Oh, you're going to be a teacher? No. Oh, what are you going to do? I don't know. I just like to read books. I had no plan whatsoever for that. And so I kind of just stumbled into working into the fitness industry. I worked for Shalene Johnson as an area promotions director before she ever sold the company to Beachbody. It was known as Powder Blue Productions, and it was owned by Shalene and her husband, Brett. So yes, really, really long time ago. So I was teaching various group fitness classes throughout the week, doing master training events, certifying instructors on the weekend. And I was recently divorced. I had filed bankruptcy about 2 weeks before I had even heard about coaching, and was really at probably one of the You need to shut the door, buddy. Sorry, I knew this would happen. Okay, close the door. It's 4 kids. This is going to happen tonight, okay? So thank you in advance for your patience with me and some of the kids. So anyways, I was at a really low point as far as like life, right? I had kind of screwed everything up in my 20s. So I was bankrupt. I had no job outside of fitness, which fitness was amazing. And I knew I was in the right place, but I was killing myself trying to afford being a single mom with 2 little kids. I was teaching, I think I had on my schedule 15 classes a week. I was subbing everything that I could. I was saying yes to everything that I could. And that meant I was completely beating down my body. I had mono for over a year because I wasn't teaching classes you had to coach. I was teaching classes you had to physically do. And I was dying. Essentially, my body was like, no, stop, make it stop. So for me, when the business opportunity was presented to me, it was a very easy decision. I did not overthink it. I didn't have to sleep on it. There was nothing about it that wasn't obvious to me. For me, the person who presented the idea to me had more money than me, drove a nicer car, was in better physical shape, and she was also working in the fitness industry, and was like, it's really nice to have an answer and a solution for people who you can't physically be in a classroom with, and then also to help anybody who leaves your classroom and anyone else with the nutrition side of what we're not touching on when we're teaching in classes. So I was like, yep, that makes sense. And I wanted to sign up, but I checked my bank account and I didn't have the money. And so I just made a promise. I was like, I promise if you come back to me in 2 weeks, I'll have the money to do this. So first of all, don't write off every person that says that, because the next me is out there. So for 2 weeks, I fed my little boys tuna, which is a super inexpensive protein, and hot dogs. And we just kind of scrimped and saved. And 11 and a half years ago, eBay was still a thing. So I brought some more expensive items to an eBay store to be sold. I added some things in my house to a garage sale that a friend was having. I did what I had to do. And in 2 weeks, when my coach followed up with me, I was like, yes, I'm ready. I have the money. And I started as a coach. So from the humblest of beginnings is where my journey began as a coach. However, I will say about 1 year prior to that, I had found the personal development world. Again, I'm kind of going to age myself, but Oprah was still a really big deal, like 11 or 12 years ago. And she was doing she had this Oprah's book club, but then she decided to do a personal development book and go dive really deep with this author. And I had a girlfriend who was like, hey, let's do this together. And we went all in. We read a chapter a week and we did the work that was in the workbook, and we would meet and we'd watch and we'd get on these calls with Oprah. And it was amazing. And immediately I was like, because of that work I had done, you would think oh, you must have been in this terrible mental state. What the book is called? Is that what the question is? The book that I read was called, if that's what you're asking, was A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle, which is probably not a great starting point for most people. It's a little woo. So if you're weirded out by stuff like that, then it may not be your thing, but I was totally here for it, and I loved it, and I ate it up, and it just got my mind in a better space, so that I'm so thankful to the universe or to whoever that book and personal development was brought into my life prior to my divorce and my bankruptcy and everything about my life being turned upside down, because I was able to kind of be okay through all of that change. And so for me, it was a really cool thing that personal development was part of our business. And that's where I'm going to start with goal setting. I know I'm going to talk around goal setting a lot tonight, but I think at the end I'll be able to bring it together for you. So the first thing I suggest with goal setting is getting your mindset right. Now, I will say you guys kicked off the call with the most positive, upbeat attitudes, and that is amazing. And I will say that's a little bit easier when things are good. Maybe you have a young team, and I mean young by you haven't maybe had to go through, some of the things my team has faced, we went from selling DVDs, you guys, to a digital platform. Dude, you have no idea how crazy a shift it was for us to be but they're going to have all the programs. What am I going to sell the people? When they finish Insanity, they don't have to buy anything else. They're already going to have it, right? So tons of mindset shifts are going to happen. So the very first thing to start working on, you started with DVDs. Yes, I love it. I love it. But mindset is a choice. It's a choice how you're going to work on it. And it's a choice for you to apply it. And that's the biggest aspect that I think there's a tendency to skip in the business right now, is we listen to the podcast or we listen to the book, but especially if you're listening to the book, you probably don't have the actual worksheets. If it's a book that has worksheets, you don't have that physical work. And then you get out of your car and you go on with your day, and you never actually go back and jot it down and answer the questions in full. And then think about your life or your business or your relationships and go, hey, where can I actually apply this? And make a plan for that. So that is, thank you. Yes. So that's truly step one, because I'm here to tell you, as I look at all of your young, beautiful faces, the very best thing, the very best thing that you're going to get out of this business. Like if you could pan forward and you could see your life 11 and a half years from now, I'm telling you, the person that you are will be the very best thing, regardless of how many dollars you've made, regardless of how many times you've stood on stage to be recognized. The person you are, how you handle your life, how you view your life, your relationships, all the fires you've been through and come through, that will be the best gift that this business has ever given you if you do the work. If you do the work. So make a plan with your personal development to double down on it, do more, and maybe do more on paper. I wanted to say, a lot of times people will say they have a little bit more time to work their business. And in that time, generally, they're going to scroll social media more, or maybe make fun graphics, or do things that aren't, whatever, maybe you enjoy them. But I'm here to tell you, if you have more time, sit down with a pen and paper and dive in deeper with your PD. Choose PD that challenges you. Choose something that's outside of just positive thinking. Choose something that's really going to help you grow. So number 2 is simply based actually off of a personal development book called The 12-Week Year. And I do not remember who the author is, but you'll find it if you type in The 12-Week Year. And ultimately what that is when you're goal setting, when you're dreaming, when you're thinking about what you want your life to look like with this business, I want you to check in with everything quarterly. Okay? That means your social circle. So if, again, you're doing that personal development work, you might feel some shifts needing to happen in your social circle. Can you level up? Do you need to maybe just say no to a few things or a few people that maybe aren't serving or filling your cup the way that they used to? Could you also check quarterly in with your goals? And when I say that, I want you to think about adjusting the time frame if you need to. Maybe you adjust the method, or maybe you adjust the priority. Something that I know now that I didn't necessarily understand as well when I was 28 versus about to be 40, is that the different seasons of life that you find yourself in demand different priorities. And the more you fight it, the more horrible it will be. The more you can accept whatever your season is and adjust everything in your life accordingly, the better and happier and more peaceful. And I'm making a lot of assumptions. Maybe you don't want a happy, better, peaceful life, but if you kind of prefer not having drama and tons of stress, checking in quarterly and adjusting a lot of that stuff will really help. Also, again, it's going to take a lot of mindset work, but accepting that even if a goal isn't met, your life, your health, your business, your team, your social media, whatever it was that the goal was related to, even if the goal wasn't met, you will be better in that area just for having tried. Because something that I know personally, and maybe you guys don't deal with this at all, but personally on my team, a consistent theme is dealing with disappointment in the business and really learning to learn from it and move forward rather than staying in that space of feeling, disappointed, let down, not enough, not good enough, that kind of thing. So again, all of this is going back to mindset, but these are all things that you can check in on quarterly. And I do highly recommend the 12-Week Year. If you're like, I need more clarity on this, spend some time with that book. If you're like, that makes sense, I've got a plan for that, good, run with it. I highly encourage you to do it. Coming right out of Summit will be a great opportunity and a great time to focus on what's going to happen for you in the next 3 months. So number 3 is create the community you desire. This is not Shauna's job. repeat after me. This is not Shauna's job. So she has clearly created, I mean, just in the 5 minutes I spent listening to you guys, I would assume that Shauna wanted a positive, uplifting, energetic community, right? That was full of supportive, sisterhood, connection, and again, positivity. That's what I would assume, just watching. And that's her community to create. But each one of you has the opportunity to have your own little sub community. Now, when I say that, it applies to 3 different places. Well, actually 4. It applies to your in real life community. You may be living in an apartment, you may be living in a house, you may be living wherever, but the people in your community see you in real life. So what are you portraying to them? Who are you to them? Because to this day, every time business has been hard for me, you know, the one group I can count on more than any other, it's the in real life people. They are my lifers. They're my lifetime customers. They're my lifetime supporters. They are the ones who will always be there for me. So never underestimate your in real life community. Your second community is your community on social media. Whether you have a community on Instagram, Facebook, or both, or something new that was developed yesterday that I'm too old to have heard about yet, your space there is a community as well. What are people coming to you for? What do they expect to find when they read the comments in your, of your photos or of your reels or whatever? What are you allowing in that space? What are you sharing in that space? It's a community. And those 2 things, your in real life community and your social media community, will, if you're doing them well and you're doing them authentically, they will make that transition for people joining your community in your challenge groups and in your coaching team very seamless. People, if you're doing it well, shouldn't feel anything different about you except more of you when they become your challenger or a coach on your team. They should know exactly who and what they're going to get. Those communities should feel very similar, very seamless, and they're only getting closer to you by joining in one of those 2 areas. But it's up to you to create that community. So, for example, I can only speak to my team. I'm not a religious person, so there are people on my team that practice a certain religion. Guess what? Then their subculture and their community, faith is a part of what they talk about, and that's totally fine. Right? That's their job to create that. It's not my job to include it because that's not my jam, right? My jam is also straight shooting, and I'm so surprised I haven't done it yet, but I have terrible language. Generally speaking, my team knows either their kids are going to hear it or they need to put headphones on. I don't have to give warnings anymore. I usually warn other people when I'm on the call. But again, that's my team. That's part of my vibe. People know this about me. If they follow me on social, they're not surprised when I'm still speaking that way on a coach call or in my challenge group. But my coaches don't have to create that same community. They can clean it up. Right? It's their space to do that, and it's not on me. And I bring that up because I don't want 80 eyes turning to Shauna and going, hey, we really wish this community was X. I want you to look inward to yourself and say, hey, I want my community to be this. And that starts by, you can share that authentically within Shauna's group as well. Is that making sense, guys? You still with me? When you find that you're creating an authentic community, this does have to do with goal setting, just trust me. Your style and your vibe in your community will automatically align with what's acceptable for reaching for goals, for dream casting, and for failures and disappointments and how you move forward in those things. All of that comes with community, right? So following and achieving those goals. Number 4, if it hasn't yet, things get hard in life, in business, with your health, it is so incredibly important to lean in to your team and not out. If you are struggling with feelings of doubt or comparison, get your butt on every single team call, every national wake-up call, and double down on your personal development. Don't stop. Don't go to the sister friend who tried Rodan and Fields and then sucked at it and hated it and quit and tell her how you're struggling in your business. What do you think you're going to get back? Instead, lean into the success that your team is having. Listen to their successes. Let their successes be your own, right? It's okay to struggle. We're all going to face different struggles in our life. Again, whether it's with weight loss, weight gain, eating disorders, business, having diamonds quit, having diamonds leave and start another business, dealing with trolls, dealing with haters, the list goes on. And a positive attitude helps, but you have to stay plugged into that. You have to stay close to that, and you have to hold this community, this opportunity, and the value of what we have here. You have to hold it so near and dear to your heart that to stop showing up is just beyond any reasonable doubt. You just won't do it. Because I'm here to tell you that the way that I got through 11 and a half years of a roller coaster of things being amazing and things being really hard and everywhere in between is by continuing to show up and lean in, regardless of my own insecurities and doubts. And every time I do that, I lean in, I show up for those team workouts, I show up on the Zooms, I get on the national wake-up call. Every time I lean in, something happens and it clicks again. And I'm re-inspired again. And I hear from someone who's sharing something that's like, gosh, I've really been struggling with my engagement on Instagram. And that one little thing that I just happened to hear someone mention before we started our team workout, man, if I would have been there, I wouldn't have heard that. And I'm going to try it because I really think it could work for me. This might be that missing piece. But if I had leaned out, right, I wouldn't have heard that. I wouldn't have been there just to have the business and the people here still filling in my cup. Also, I want to pair with that. It's still the leaning in part, but the second thing I want to say is always, 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 even if it's not an income building activity, always do something in the business that brings you joy. Always do that thing and never let it go, even if it's out of style, even if it's out of season, or even if it's not, an income building activity. It is so important to remember what you love about this business and always be doing it. Even in seasons of pushes, even in seasons of struggle, even in seasons of doubt, always do the things that bring you joy. And if you can do that, you'll find longevity in this business. And if you find longevity, I promise you'll find all the other goals and dreams that you have for your life and for your business and for your team and for your friends. Those will come if you can stay leaned in and doing the things that bring you joy. So the last little bit that I wanted to share, and again, none of this is super specific to goal setting, but hopefully I'm helping your wheels turn a little bit here. It's that the work that we do as coaches is not hard. We work hard. Trust me, I have worked hard to accumulate over $2 million in this business. That didn't come easy. I worked hard for it. But the work I did was not hard. I did it from an airplane, an airport, my bed, a lot, so much time working from my bed, my couch, my kitchen counter with countless interruptions, talking to people, connecting with people, getting to know people, asking questions, wishing them happy birthday, continuing to work out, not 22 hours a week like I was when I was killing myself, but continuing to stay fit, continuing to try and choose a few more veggies and a few less cookies. It's not going great, but I'm trying. I'm just kidding. In contrast to that, I'll share my husband, his work is hard. He's an air traffic controller. If he screws up, planes crash, people die. Guess what? When is the last time you heard of two planes colliding in midair? You haven't. Why? Because of people like him who are 100% correct 100% of the time. They don't mess up. What I tell my coaches all the time, no one dies if we mess up. It's okay. We can call coach relations and fix it. I promise there's a solution if we mess up. Our work is not hard. How many of you here are nurses, teachers, or, oh my gosh, there are so many different industries, or know people who work in manual labor, right? There are so many people out there who have physically hard work, mentally hard work, work that they do where lawyers, where people are going to lose millions of dollars, lose their life, lose their whatever. So remind yourself when you're struggling and you're not feeling like sending those invites, or when you get off this call and you're like, she was annoying because she talked all about reading books and mindset work, and that has nothing to do with coaching, right? It's not hard. If someone who has had success in this business is telling you something, it's because it works, right? Like, it's not hard to listen to 10 minutes of an audiobook or read 10 pages of a book. We can do this. The gift and the reward at the end is so much bigger than what we put in. And so the last thing that I'll say, again, when you're thinking about setting goals, when you're thinking about having a dream, when I started this, like I said, I'm going to take you full circle to that moment. I just looked at the person who invited me and thought, she has more money than me. She's driving a nicer car than me. She didn't just file bankruptcy. She was a few steps ahead of where I wanted to be. And while I knew nothing, I had never heard of Beachbody. I had never heard of our DVDs. I was that person who did not stay up late and see infomercials in the middle of the night. So I didn't know what P90X was. Shakeology was 3 months old when I joined as a coach. Okay, so I certainly hadn't heard of Shakeology. I knew nothing about it. But all I could think, and I remember sitting in bed with my husband. I've since been, over the last 11 and a half years, I got remarried, had 2 more children, thus, married and 4 kids now, and 3 dogs. I remember just looking at him, feeling so sick from physically working so hard, and thinking there has to be a way to earn money in the fitness industry that doesn't destroy my health, and that still allows me to be present for my kids in the way that I wanted to be when I became a mom. I don't care if you send your kids to daycare or you have a nanny or whatever. I don't care. I just knew for me, I just wanted to be present. I wanted to be able to set my own schedule, and I wanted to be able to give them the life that I wanted to give them, right? Those were the things that I wanted. So today, as I sit here 11 and a half years later, and I haven't hit elite in a couple of years, but I've always been a 6-figure a year earner ever since I had my first 6-figure year. I'm not someone who chases recognition. I'm not someone who cares about necessarily being on stage. And that doesn't mean that can't be your dream. I'm speaking specifically to myself right now, because when I started, that's not what I was thinking about. When I started, I was thinking, I want to work in the fitness industry, not kill my body, and have enough money to take care of my kids and give them a better life. That's what I wanted. And today, I know that no matter what happens, yes, I have a spouse who has a great job, but I know for a fact, I have a business that I run, that I can support my family all on my own if I need to, on my terms, built around the lives of my 4 kids and my 3 dogs and every interruption that comes with it. And it's everything that I could have wanted. It is everything that I could have dreamed of when I started this. So thinking about a lot of the things that I shared today are so super specific. They're real little things, but they're applicable things that I know that I've done over the last 11 and a half years that have helped me get here. So you can look at that great, the great big span of the story from bankrupt to six figures to Legacy Club earning over $1 million and on, and go, wow, that's a really great big thing. But how I got there were the 5 things I shared with you. And in every one of those was mindset. Be grateful first, always use integrity, and always keep going. Quitting is never an option because you're taking yourself out of the game. So I can definitely answer more questions, especially more specific to goal setting if that helps. I know that's not exactly maybe what you were expecting, but that's what was on my heart to share with you guys today. And I'm totally open for questions if anybody has them. If you don't, I'll just cry myself to sleep. It's fine.
I feel like you were speaking to my soul. Like, I feel like I needed to talk on mindset so bad because right now, like, I'm so back and forth with PD books and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to read. So mindset is always like the first thing I go back to. So I love that. And also it's funny that you say like, out of everything you've like learned within like being a coach for 11 and a half years, it had a lot to do with becoming the person that you are. And that's what Ashley Feldison said on the National Wake Up Call. She's like, yeah.
I know it. I didn't plan it. I had my notes written before the National Wake Up Call.
No, it's just so interesting to hear, like, that's so true. Like a lot of the top coaches, like that's what they refer back to is like the person they become. So I loved hearing that and like so many notes. I do have a question and then I'll mute myself to see if anyone else has a question, but what's your, like, this is probably hard for you to answer, but like, what's your favorite PD book when it comes to, like leadership, I guess, or like anything to do with business development?
With what development?
Like anything to do with like business and leadership.
Yeah. So, oh gosh, there are so many. So, this is really, really old school. So I think it's worth mentioning because I think a lot of coaches skip over this now.
Mm-hmm.
But the 21, okay, John Maxwell has 15 and 21. I think it's the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership, but it might be 15. One's leadership and one's something else. So it's 15 or 21 and they're irrefutable laws. And it's by John Maxwell. And that comes with a workbook as well. And I cannot highly recommend enough getting the workbook and going so painfully slow through all of his leadership laws and doing the work. So that's a great one. I think working with women, which I'm seeing your team looks mostly feminine. I think that Dare to Lead by Brene Brown is a really powerful feminine tool for leadership. And I think those two actually balance each other out very well. John Maxwell's way is maybe a little bit stodgy, so to speak, but it's true and it's not incorrect. And I love the work that he lays out for you. But I think Brene's take is a little more contemporary and a little bit more feminine and a really important balance to both of those. So I think those would probably be two of my leadership specific favorites. Yes. Yeah, I actually have a, hold on, I think I can grab it and put it in the chat box. I have a list. I'm going to add two that aren't on there that I've actually just finished that I absolutely hands down are two of my all-time favorites. Have you guys read We Should All Be Millionaires by Rachel Rodgers? Anybody read that? Oh my God. Ready to have your world rocked. She's amazing. So fresh. So on point. Oh, I can't get this PDF to open. I do have a PDF for you guys and it's category based. So you can find one for each category. But I need to update it. But anyways, We Should All Be Millionaires by Rachel Rodgers. Holy McSmolies. And even if you're not money motivated, this book is definitely for you. If you are money motivated, totally is. If you're not money motivated, it definitely is. So good. I happened to listen to it on Audible. Loved it. it was she was the narrator. And then the second one that and I'm gonna botch her name is Chillpreneur. I wish that I had read or heard this book 11 and a half years ago. It is phenomenal. Again, another more feminine approach to being an entrepreneur. Chillpreneur by Denise Duffield Thomas. She's Australian, so if you listen to the audio, you get to hear her amazing Australian accent. Of course, if you read the book, then that's great. Oh, this question is terrible. So what have I seen for success in inviting? Well, I say it's not that your question is terrible. It's that the game has changed a lot recently. And I am finding that my inviting process is the pace of molasses on a cold fall day, because I feel like the 7 moons of Jupiter have to be in line, and it can't be a Mercury retrograde, and like it's tough right now, you know, whether it's COVID and people just whatever, or you know, network marketing is definitely like so widely spread, and I'm just going to be honest, there are crappy people out there who are ruining it for the rest of us. People are more skeptical than ever. And so for me, I'm finding that now today, 11 and a half years in, it's slow. It takes tons of meaningful connection, tons of patience, and tons of confidence about what I have to offer, and being so incredibly confident that my only job is that they know what I do and what I offer. As long as they know that, I don't care if they work with me or not. I don't care what they decide. I just have to be rock solid in that confidence that when they're ready to work with me, they're going to. Because I'm definitely not having like, it's slow. If someone else has a better answer and it's faster, I would love to hear about that, because it's so fun when it's fast and easy, but it has not been for me lately. With PD when I started, yeah. So I did start with PD right away. So the question is if I started right away or doing it later. I will say that over 11 and a half years, I've had seasons when I've done more and less PD, when I've, you know, it's kind of like your nutrition. Sometimes it gets a little sloppy, and then you can see that, right? You know, if I get sloppy with my PD, I can see that. So I always notice a difference. And that's one of the first things that my coaches know. Like if they're struggling, I'm gonna be like, all right, well, let's find the book for that. The great news is that it's really fixable. You know, you can always do more, you can always adjust. I said, be grateful, always use integrity, and always keep going. Emily Jane, that was the third, always keep going. You can unmute yourselves and ask questions too.
Anyone else? There's gotta be more. Oh, so continuing with PD when it's hard. So there's a couple things, and there's a couple different mindsets on that and a couple different theories on that. One might be, I've been doing this so long that like for me, I'm okay with like discipline and commitment. That's not necessarily what I'm working on. I know somebody here is doing 75 hard, and I know 75 hard is when you start a book, you finish it, right? It's all about teaching like discipline and follow through. If you feel like in general you're pretty good with discipline and follow through, I'm all about like set that book aside. It's not vibing for some reason, right? Choose something else. Choose a different method. You know, maybe you've been reading. Maybe you really just need to try Audible. Maybe you've been doing Audible, but you really just need to like pick up a book. But I also think it's okay to come back to books
later, you know, maybe it's not the right season for that book. But if you're like, oh, I'm that way with every book, then you better buck it up and just get it done. Because that's probably just like a commitment or a discipline thing. And maybe like, you know, I guess again too, I would have to know like why it's not resonating. You know, are you taking suggestions from other people, or are you really searching for what you personally need right now? I think we could dive into that a whole lot more if we were like having a one-on-one call. But I also think there's a lot of things that could be PD and that I've utilized as PD that aren't books or audibles. There are certain podcasts that I listen to that aren't business specific. Like, fight me on this. I watch $1 Million Listing, New York, LA, doesn't matter. That is personal development. Fight me. I'm sorry, but watching how they connect with people and how they do, like how they do their sales and different stuff, like you can't tell me you're not learning something from that, right? And I actually happen to be a really big fan of Ryan Serhant. He has 2 different books, both of which I love, and he also has a podcast now that's also really good. But I mean, there's Netflix documentaries on stuff that I think are great personal development. There are like, if you're learning more about people, if your season of life is you're in therapy, that's personal development in a big way. You know, like it doesn't always have to be, you know, business book or direct sales. Go show Ainsley him. So let me read this question. I know struggling on signing up people. So Lauren's asking with like newer coaches that are struggling. Probably aren't gonna like the newer coaches who are struggling are probably not gonna like my answer. Do I have permission to be super honest? Okay. All right, just plug your ears if you're like, I'm not in a space to hear anybody give me tough love. I just like, you gotta find like your circle and tap into your circle. And if your circle sucks that bad that you can't get like your first 3 or 4 people to be like, I will do this for you because you're you and I love you, I want you to focus on leveling up your circle of influence. I would also encourage you to get on a call with one of your upline coaches who has some experience in this and have them look at your messaging or talk through your messaging. Quite honestly, if you're a new coach, it really shouldn't be happening with messaging. It should be happening more or less face-to-face or on the phone or in a conversation. And it definitely should be happening with your voice, but maybe like your coach can kind of help you fine tune like, oh, wow, you did a bunch of like, you really word vomited and you kind of scared them off. Hey, go talk to Ainsley, I'm almost done. Tell her to play one game of Candyland.
I want a toy of like workers that work at the work. So many.
Okay, go tell Ainsley about it. I'm sorry, I can't focus when he's in the room. But I think having a conversation with a more experienced coach about like what your conversations are looking like is an important step. But then secondly, I would do, you're gonna hate me, I would do a deep dive into like how you really feel about this business. Like, are you actually trying to sign these people up because you want to, or are you doing it because it's what your coach told you is the next step? Like, you need to be really like honest with yourself and with your coach about where you're at with the business side of it. Because I don't know about you guys, but I do have a decent amount of people on my team who are definitely going to transfer from being a discount coach to a preferred customer because they love our community and they love our workouts, but they aren't there with the business side yet. And that is okay, because you know what I want? I want people who are with me for a lifetime because they love whatever it is they've signed up for. And what I don't want is people who force a square peg into a round hole and then bail. So every 6 months, I'm like basically flushing a toilet on my work and reloading. Does that make sense? I know it's hard to see potential in people and to not necessarily see them acting on it, or to not see them wanting it. Maybe like, you know, we say a lot of times, like we want it more for you than you do sometimes. And that is a tough part of coaching. So the sponsoring coach, do more PD on that. And, you know, the coach who's really struggling this month, I would level up your social circle. I would really be honest with yourself about why you're doing it. And then maybe try and get a one-on-one to dive into some of the actual conversations that are being had. And then, yeah, I love that. So like, so she's saying the fear of rankings and not hitting Success Club. Okay, so again, with like the disappointment, you guys, like, you did not hear on my list like Success Club All-Star Legend. I have been a Success Club All-Star Legend, but I'm not right now. Should I have quit? Should I have walked away? I mean, my lifetime rank is 9-star, 2-star, 1-star. It's not what I am this morning. It's not what I am today. Should I quit? I mean, it really goes back to me saying, like, you're better for trying. Success Club is a great marker, but here's the thing. I'm almost 40. Shauna, how old are you?
I'm 26.
Perfect. So if Shauna and I both decided today that we were going to start the Ultimate Portion Fix together, and I'm just hypothesizing here, and let's just say we each had a goal of losing 20 pounds. Okay, and let's just say that the Ultimate Portion Fix put us both in the B calorie bracket. Okay, and today Shauna and I both start Let's Get Up, and today we start. And today, Shauna and I both do Let's Get Up for 30 days, and we both follow the Ultimate Portion Fix to an absolute T, the exact same way. Guess what? Do you think our results would be the same? Probably not. And for an epiphany of reasons. Our age would cause different results. Our lifestyle, the amount of sleep we're getting, the quality of the food that we're eating and putting in those containers, all those different factors are going to play into our results. And guess what? Even though we both started today, our starting line was not in the same place. Shauna may have, started ahead in the food category. I maybe started ahead in, having some solid workout background, right? But it's also translatable because we can all do the same thing and not get the same results. And the hard part is, like, as much as we want to be inspired by the people around us, we can't get caught up in that game of comparison. I'll be really honest, like, there's some things about this business that flat out aren't fair. So you're going to have coaches on your team, if you've been around long enough, who get placed on a really strong leg and do half of the work that some other coaches do, and they get paid twice as much. That's the reality of this business, and you can hate it all day, but it's truth. It happens. And we could sit here and be pissy about it, or we could choose to be the bigger person, like some, obviously this is a personal experience that I'm sharing. I'm not talking about a friend. I simply choose, like, the universe must be taking care of that person because they really, really need it. That's how I choose to just move forward with it. Because I can't, as much as I might want to be in Shauna's 26-year-old cutie patootie little body, it's not the body that I have today. The body I have today has housed 4 children and had 3 C-sections. And it's, it's been around the globe a few more times, right? And it just is what it is. And that's just part of this business, and it's part of life. Again, if we can do the mindset work to deal with this being part of this business, it's also going to really help us deal with it in, if you ever, become a parent someday. You're going to be able to gift that mindset to your kids. You're going to be able to enjoy motherhood a little bit more. It's not enjoyable right now. My kids are fighting out there. But you're going to be able to enjoy motherhood a little bit more because you're going to be more at peace with letting go of the comparisons and the jealousy and different stuff like that, and really owning your own position in this business. So again, I wouldn't say don't tap out or anything, but maybe remove some of the pressure, do some more work, double down on mindset, level up your social circle, and meet with your coach. Let them kind of see the conversations you're having. And what are the conversations you're having with your spouse? Someone was sharing the other day, they said something about their spouse wasn't supportive. And so their coach was like, well, what are you telling your spouse about the business? And they were like, well, basically I'm complaining, I'm complaining that I'm not getting paid yet. I'm complaining about having to be on a call and complaining, about this, that, and the other. And they're like, obviously your coach isn't, or your spouse isn't supporting your business because it's not making you happy. But if you share all the things that you love about your business, then your spouse is going to be like, oh, this makes you happy. Who cares if you make money or anything, right? It's not fair, Mom. So to be fair, I have 4 kids. My oldest 2 are amazing because they're teenagers. Anybody who says teenagers are terrible, no, they're wrong. It's younger kids that are terrible. My teenagers are great. They would not be screaming right now. No, my youngest will be in kindergarten this fall, and my daughter is going to be 10. Oh, don't do it. If you're on the fence, don't do it. I'm just kidding. Hopefully that made sense what I was trying to say and the analogies I was making. I just truly think that a lot of things in this business are so relatable to what we're doing on our own health and fitness journey,
So true. I love it. Well, thank you for spending an hour with us tonight. I feel like I could listen to you talk all day. You're just so genuine and open, and something I needed to hear tonight. So thank you. I will get that PDF from you. That will be really helpful for all those personal development books. But other than that, just want to say thanks for your time. I know you're a crazy busy mom, so super appreciated. And yeah, chat with you guys soon. Bye guys. Have a good night.